So yeah, this time going for a bit of a darker note. It's a note that's taken me a long time to appreciate, and still sometimes in some fragrances I can really struggle with it. But I'm starting to understand, I think, a lot more about it and what it does and what it is, etc. And that is Cypriol, or Nagamotha, what it's called. I'm presuming they're both names for it. I can't imagine it's a something or something completely different. That would be most odd, wouldn't it? But yeah, to me this note, now it's often used as a kind of oud accord or oud replacement thing, and I think to me the difference is this is a more kind of very earthy note, very kind of dark, sometimes quite leathery, and sometimes quite foreboding. It can be like this really kind of dark green earthy thing that makes me think of a grave or something like that. And yeah, it's not always the easiest or the brightest sunshiny note, but it can be used in various different ways, and it can be quite smoky as well, adding a bit of kind of mysteriousness in there. It's an interesting note that has definitely grown on me since I started, and I'd say I even went to the point of thinking I quite detested it. But again, the more we kind of try and the more we experience and the more we get to know something, then that changes, doesn't it? So yes, we shall get into the fragrance. So first up is from Fab Trends Mia's brand. She's on YouTube and Instagram, and is a lovely lass. And these perfumes have been made with the very great, legendary, out of this world perfumer Miguel Matos, who, as we know, can make things that are beautiful but also quite spectacular, quite interesting. And the one from me that uses Cypriol quite heavily is Pendragon's Heart. Now this is predominantly a tobacco fragrance. Go this way. And the tobacco runs through it, and it's kind of it's a mixture of all them things tobacco is. It's quite dark. It's got that kind of light blondness, the kind of dry goldenness about it. It's got the kind of a bit of saffron, I believe. It's got some lavender, some aromatic notes to kind of lift it up and that. But it's not a tobacco lavender one. Don't think like that. And it's also the Cypriol is quite a main note in it. It really grounds it, and it adds a bit more to me personally, subjectively, in the base, but a lot more of that kind of darkness, the kind of greenness. I think it also might be something that kind of emphasises that kind of leathery feel in there with saffron. And does it have an oudi effect? A little bit. It does give it, like I say, it's that sort of woodiness, but the kind of very earthy, mixing probably again with the patchouli, which is going to be a common theme, kind of feel to it. So that is Pendragon's Heart from Mirad's Perfumes. Next is a niche. Yeah, you'll have heard me mention this on my channel maybe once or twice. That's Silver Oud, Opus 13 from Amage. Now this is predominantly a fragrance built around a Sam oud. There's some smokiness. There's quite a lot of smokiness. There's a birch, the kind of very elegant kind of oud. The castoreum, to me, is what gives it that kind of animalic growl, mixing with a slight hint of it in the beginning from the oud. And there's patchouli and things like that, and vanilla that kind of smooths it off. But now again, some of that darkness, some of that smokiness in there from the base, I think, is from the Cypriol. And again, the kind of, it gives it an earthy, not overly kind of soily or moist kind of feel, but again that kind of hint of something a bit dark green, a bit dank, in a pleasant way, is what I think the Cypriol does to this. It's not a major part of it, but given it's a fragrance that's all built around that oud note, it kind of emphasises and picks up and lifts aspects of it within it. So obviously the oud content is not, it's going to be to a minimum. It is a very expensive fragrance, but again, Assam oud it's a very expensive material, isn't it? So that's what I think it kind of does in there. And it's just it's very important and very kind of classy to it, and gives that, yeah, that little emphasis and that little bit of a tiny extra edge with the other things in there. So that's Opus 13 from Amage Silver Oud. And finally, a masterpiece, a discontinued masterpiece now, and one I absolutely cannot wear. It's too much for me. It's never really got easier. And that's Gucci Guilty's Absolute. Now, this is just so unique, so bold, so out there, so unapologetic, so kind of different. It's what we want from designer fragrances. Stop being safe and easy and boring and same as all the rest. But this one is mainly, it's kind of a leather, a dark leather, I think it's saffron, cypress and Cypriol to me. Now Cypriol's not listed, like I say, but with the cypress, I think the Cypriol gives this dark greenness in that leather. I mean, it could be coming from the leather, I could be completely making it up. I think it's in there. But to me, it smells of a morgue, it smells of a coffin. It's got that woody, clinical smell. If you've ever been to a kind of nursing home, and you can tell when someone's recently died, let's put it like that, it has a very distinctive smell. And Gucci Guilty Absolute to me is that. It really does smell of that. It smells of a kind of morgue place. It smells of the inside of a coffin. It does give me the chills a bit. And again, obviously, like I'm saying, some of that kind of weirdness, that kind of almost medicinal kind of feel, will be the cypress mixing with the leather. But there is a definite woody earthiness, and there'll be a ton of dark earthy patchouli in this as well, and all combining together, yeah, your kind of grave, morgue, eerie, quite scary fragrance. But again, although I can't wear it, it's a bit too much for me and gives me them chills. Again, what a masterpiece. I think it was Alberto Morillas, is it? Don't quote me, I could be wrong. And the kind of niche version of this, if you like, is Dark Lord from Killian, which has a bit more going on, and it's a bit more finished. It's got a bit more to it. Obviously the ingredients used the budget was obviously a little bit greater. Not by any means to knock Gucci Guilty Absolute. I think it's perfect as it is. But Dark Lord takes it to a slightly different level. Same perfumer, so I imagine same idea, if you like, and all of that. Fantastic fragrance, Gucci Guilty Absolute, even though not for me. So yeah, it's designer. As you can tell, could be the last video I ever make, because I may collapse and die of breathlessness because I'm so out of shape. But that's not the point, is it? Nobody wants to know that. What's your favourite Cypriol fragrance? What is Cypriol to you? What does it smell of? What sort of Cypriol do you like? Do you like a kind of more woody, oudy type thing? Or do you like it when it's kind of dank and dark and green and almost eerie and scary? Is it a note you struggle with? Do you often struggle with things that it goes with and that? Also, what's a note that you did struggle with early on, that the more you've got to know, you kind of like it more? And that's no more questions from me. Thanks for watching. Bye.